All right, let's do it live on a Football Friday edition of Cleveland Browns Daily. I am merely Bo. He is the great Z. How you living, buddy?
I'm good. I think that this Browns team is in a good spot. I think that some positive news, obviously, with our quarterback able to after his biggest work, on Thursday, to come back today.
Yeah, stack it.
I thought he looked good today.
So you got a first-hand viewing of,
I did.
of it?
Yeah.
Tell the people. Give
I
the
did.
people.
I thought he looked good. I thought he was
How
able
was
to
he
throw
on
the ball
throws
with
of 10 to 19? How was he on throws of 19 to 25 to 35?
He was able to throw the football
Were there any
wherever
throws
he
over
needed
than
to.
40? Did you see a throw over 40?
Can
you interest me in
confirm
50?
or deny that, but I can tell you that I felt like he made throws that were indicative of everything he would need to do in a game. So I thought it looked good. Definitely a little more comfortable today. Had a sleeve on that right arm, but looked more comfortable letting it rip. And I was very encouraged by it. I think that as long as things continue to go in the direction they are, I would expect that Deshaun Watson will be able to play for the Browns. And I'm sure we'll find out. That'll be a game time decision. But I think as good as it could be today, and barring a change from that, I think we're in a good spot.
So it feels like it's a ramp up.
Yes.
Thing is what we're doing. So a little bit each day. Didn't practice Wednesday, practiced yesterday, and now more of a real practice experience today. I would imagine, and again, not a doctor, nor do I've ever played one on television, I would imagine that provided there isn't discomfort tonight coming out of it, and he's able to do similar tomorrow, then you're green light. I mean, I would think that's where you're at.
Tomorrow's
this
just
point, right?
typically tomorrow's a mock game, so it's just a walkthrough. Yeah, wouldn't actually
so as long
be
as
slinging.
there's no discomfort tonight.
Yeah.
You should be in a pretty good spot.
Mild, just as long as there might be some soreness just because you're doing something that your muscles have not done in a while. But I thought very encouraging, and I would expect as of now, Greg Newsome I think is good to go. Harrison Bryant I think is good to go, and Kareem Hunt we'll see with him and Deshaun Watson. But I feel good about our spot right now. I feel very good about the health of this football team going into what's a very important game. I just got a chance to talk with Juan Thornhill, and he's like, it's great that we won that one, but I keep telling these guys, like, you can't take any team lightly. We have got to go win. When he was a member of the Chiefs last year, they went into Indianapolis early in the season and lost a game, and then he said we didn't take them serious, we weren't prepared, and so making sure we do not make that mistake, and as a quality football team, we got to go out there and take care of business against them. So I like that. I like what he's brought to this team. I think we've got a lot of guys now who have been on teams of consequence that are not going to take, the fact that the Browns rap is this: win it, lose it.
Yeah.
That's it. Week 1, win. Week 2, loss. Week 3, win. Week 4, loss. Bye. Week 6, win. We've got to break that cycle. You've got to break on through. And as we've talked about, 3-13 following wins since 2021. This is an important game for this team to set the tone, and I think it's great that it's looking like you're going to have your quarterback back.
Other than the season-ending stuff that you're never going to get Nick and Jack back, it feels like this is as healthy as we can be.
Yes, we are in. It feels like that as well. I mean, it sounds like with no Sione Takitaki, a hamstring obviously happened in practice this week. That's unfortunate. But we have some good depth there.
I missed that. When did that happen?
He's playing. It had to happen in practice because he wasn't on the injury report.
Yeah, because we didn't have.
He wasn't on the injury report yesterday.
Yeah, so it must have been yesterday at practice,
or after, or today in the walkthrough or something.
Yeah. He hadn't been.
So he would be out. It sounds like, and Anthony Walker Jr. is back, which is good news. So you'll still have him and JOK, and I think Tony Fields probably or Matthew Adams will get a chance to step up and be that third linebacker when we go base against them. But my guess is we're just going to continue to see Rodney McLeod or Delpit in that role as kind of that extra linebacker, because that's been very, very effective for this defense. For the Colts, the fact that Braden Smith is out, what?
Penn State jacket walking around the building.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she
attended?
either went there or worked for them.
All right. Went
prior.
There, fine. I didn't expect that on a Friday.
Yeah, she went there. I don't know if I'm assuming she worked there.
She's been in that program.
Right,
that is
might
very
be,
good.
That might also
right.
be taking one of our other friends, big luminary assistant, who's going to not root for the Buckeyes.
Luminary assistant.
An assistant to the luminaries.
An assistant to the luminaries.
That is like when I said, are you rooting?
Yeah.
Like, how are you going to do that in that section? She goes, I'm not from here.
Okay. All right.
I said,
okay.
Well, I don't think that's endearing.
No.
All right.
No, that's not.
Sad.
You've been working that gum. I love it.
I like it. Yeah, you got, it's
like
good.
it.
Hey, how was the coaches show last night?
Great.
What did you guys do?
Can I tell you something that's going to make you joyous?
Yeah, let me write it down. Do I need to write it down?
If you want, you don't have to. I think once you hear it, it'll
But I like
it'll be
taking
all you
notes
need.
on
If you
your
like to.
important.
Well,
On your important.
first of all, Coach Joe was great. Huge audience, terrific audience at
Yep.
Slim and Chubby's. Elijah Moore was great. It's packed. You can feel the energy, feel the love. It was awesome. And then today, it turns out that remote at Slim and Chubby's is a gift that keeps on giving, because we were approached downstairs earlier today by RJ from the Cleveland Brown security team.
Your boy.
My
That's
doppel.
right, your doppel.
And RJ, as soon as he saw us, beelines right for us, and he goes, so the referee who's refereeing practice came up to me and was like, I saw you at Slim and Chubby's last night. And RJ said, no, you didn't see me, but I know who you did see. Gibby. By the way, we have Gibby Cam.
How close are you guys on height? You're taller, but it's close. Are you? You're taller, right?
I am.
But it's close.
Pretty
It's in a
similar.
couple
But
inches.
when I say we have a very similar build,
From a distance,
It's very difficult.
it's tough. Yeah.
I told him
But
for
you
Halloween
are
I'd
taller.
like to go as
He
Hans
is,
and
but
Franz.
That would be
RJ,
amazing.
RJ is a more upright
Yes.
posture than Gibby.
I
Yeah,
have
he does have
awful
a-
posture.
Yeah, he does have a very.
Yeah. Gibby, can we get you on the Gibby Cam? What's the deal?
Where's Griff? Oh,
Yay!
I didn't know we had a cam. Gibby's got a
Yeah, it's the
cam?
Gibby Cam. Came
Yellowstone
today.
figured it out
Oh,
yesterday.
well done, young
Came today.
Stones.
By the way, you know what else happened today? Since Griff is on working the cams, look at the big
that
loom.
guy.
Look at him.
Big guy.
Yes,
Big guy
there
right
he is.
there. That's
there
right.
he is.
He's ready to go.
Griff
Okay.
had his first clam of his life today from the clam bake. Well, agreed. And
What's
by the
his
way,
review?
they didn't even give it to him in a broth.
What did they want him to do?
They were
eat
just
it
clams
plain?
in a bag, plain.
Come on.
I know.
on.
So the best part was, given where he is from in the middle of the country, Uno was like, of course you haven't had a clam. You're not near water. And I'm like, yeah, Uno, because there's a lot of clams coming out of Lake Erie.
It's an
Uno thought that
amazing
there's-
discussion.
Uno-
No, he was like, I know, but we're closer to the ocean than he is. And the
You're
girl's
both a
like,
flight.
it's still a plane ride.
Be like, so you know he's never had a shrimp? I mean, what are we talking about here? Like,
Is it clam bake season? Is
It
that what it
is.
is? It's that
Well,
time.
there was one
Last
here
Saturday.
today.
Oh, is
The
that
great
what's going on
Moran
out there?
family
Yeah.
hosted me.
They
And a
had
number
you?
of people. We had a blast.
A great many people.
Yeah,
I
about
think it's
20 of
just an excuse to congregate.
Yeah.
You know, like it. You know,
Which is fine.
We made
Which
the
is
most
great.
of
We
it.
I love
need
it.
we
Yeah.
need excuses to
Yeah, I like
congregate.
that. Oktoberfest. You know, I think maybe what would make more sense here would be like maybe a walleye or perch. Bake.
But I don't think it's walleye or perch season.
I think it's always that season,
No,
isn't it? There's a certain
no,
season when it's
yeah.
it. I know they do it up at the lake. It's in the summer. They do like the walleye fest and all that.
Oh, yeah.
But
Up at
Port Clinton has
Port
one.
Clinton. That's
Yeah.
it. Yeah. I couldn't remember. I was
But
thinking
I
Catawba, and I was not right.
remember that. Like it's very much a northeastern thing, the
Totally,
clam bake.
yes.
I'd never even
I
heard
didn't
of one
grow up
until
with
I
a clam
moved
bake.
here, and it was like,
Yeah.
oh, we got to go have a clam bake. And then
Very
it-
Cape
same,
Cod, right?
Same thing happened. It's just a sack of shells, and I'm like, what do I got to do with this?
A clam bake, a lobster
I got to
boil.
work. You got to make me do. I didn't want to do the work. You do it, and then even then, it's not worth the work. It's not like crab, where if I do the work, the end result is pretty good.
The best thing that can happen to a clam is as follows. Number one, it ends up in a delightful linguine with clam sauce. Actually,
there
the
you
three
go.
best things. Number two, it's in a wonderful New England clam chowder.
Yeah.
Clam chowder was pretty good today.
And
Oh, they have
and
a clam
then
chowder
number
down there? I like a
three
clam chowder.
would be what I would consider to be one of the finest seafood appetizers in the world, let alone this great city. At Acqua de Luca, they have one that's called mare, which is the sea. And it is, I mean, it is a tray yay big.
Okay.
And it's got a full lobster, king crab legs, scallops, giant scampies, shrimp, mussels, clams, and then calamari just sprinkled out throughout. And it's all
Is it
sitting
cooked,
in
or
all
is it
hot.
iced?
Hot.
Oh, so okay.
And
So it
all
actually could pass as a meal as
sitting
opposed
in,
to
sitting in.
It's an appetizer for Zagura alone.
It's sitting in like a linguine with clam sauce, like a
Oh, that feels like a
white
win.
wine.
That sounds very good.
It is.
You like clam
Outrageous.
chowder, but it has creme.
I know, that's my one thing. Are you kidding me? This has caused the biggest fight in the history of my relationship with Miss K.
It's valid. I think she's got a decent
So
place to stand. I
we
mean,
went
It's very creamy.
we went to Pier W
Yeah.
with S
Yeah.
and his
great
wife
vistas
Cross.
there.
Yes, great vistas, great views. Vistas are the views.
Yeah.
And I ordered clam chowder because it kind of reminded me of a San Francisco type
Yeah,
of a place.
for sure.
And
Yeah.
when I think of growing up, I think it was like clam chowder in a sourdough bowl. And so I ordered the clam chowder, and she was just like, "Who are you? I don't even know you." Like,
You're living a lie.
yeah, basically, like she was not pleased.
I think it's fair based on your staunch.
Totally. And I said that this is my
This is the
my
one.
exception.
Yeah.
It's not like it happens often, and it's got to be the right
No.
environment. I'm just not
Yeah.
out there like. Although back in the day, I used to roll through a lot of Progresso and Campbell's Chunky.
Yeah, those are good. It's
yeah.
funny you say that. I think the Campbell's Chunky Clam Chowder, it's very good.
Delightful.
It feels like a restaurant
Got
quality.
a few
to it.
cans in the basement.
That's very good.
Yeah.
It's always way-
Zago used to take that and he'd take a Campbell's or a Progresso and he'd put it in a pot on the stove and then he'd mix in some sherry
There you go.
and some Tabasco and make a
Bolster it.
it'd bolster it,
Yeah.
and enhance
There you go.
accoutrements.
I like that very much. From the Colts, right tackle Braden Smith is out.
That's a big deal.
That's a very big
No,
deal
that's-
because it means that rookie tackle Blake Freeland will start, and he will have to block either Z or Miles on the reg.
And last week he gave up a sack and 6 pressures in the game alone to the Jags. In fact, the tackles combined to give up 11 pressures and 2 sacks. This is not a good situation for their offensive line against ours, and that is why it's imperative that the Cleveland Browns go out there and stop the run on early downs and put them into obvious passing situations. Oh, by the way, that's our first look at the Salute to Service hoodie. It's a brown.
It would look it very much is. That would be good, on a broadcast show owned by the team.
I bet it would be.
Something like that would be good.
Yeah.
On there.
Do a little marketing.
So yeah, you could do it a little bit. Say, hey,
At the team
where can
shop
you get
right
that?
now.
Look at that. You have the creme Browns starter that you came in here in.
You can see it in the back, but you can see it.
Yeah,
you can see
it back there.
You can see it.
You remember when the good folks at Homage dropped that on
Yes,
us, and within 2 hours,
sold out.
gone,
Sold out.
Can't get them. Yeah,
Gibbe.
you're welcome.
Yes.
I think put that on your list. Have us wear the item, like it should be an item of the day or at least once a week, an
I
item of
tried
the
to
week.
sell this to people in this building for 5 years, I feel like.
Do you know what we do?
We move merch.
That's all I say. I tell them. I go.
I was just about to say
see what we do.
WMM. We move merch. It's a fact.
I mean,
if we
right
had
and
our own-
true.
If we had our own stuff right now,
There's no question.
Like that Buckeye pullover, like as a Browns with like an elf instead of in place of the Ohio State logo.
Oh,
And a little-
the sugar stripe in a
Yeah.
nice orange with
boy.
with a elf on there would
Yeah.
be an incredible win.
I agree.
Yeah,
we could be slinging Wednesday night taped T-shirts.
Oh, for sure.
Mr. Winners, we could be slinging his
There's
T-shirt.
no doubt. There's no doubt.
A let's go, maybe even a no problem after we got to try to capitalize on that real fast. Pop a little no problem T-shirt out there.
Yeah. All right, we had a Thursday night football.
Quarter zips.
Oh, quarter zips. Run amok. We had a Thursday night football game last night. We will get into that, and of course, we will get you set for the Browns and the Colts. Jason Tarver, by the way, is going to be on the program as well. The
Winner
scores,
winner
the
for
over-unders.
us. Winner.
Yeah, winner. We got it. Yep. We'll go behind enemy lines in Indy
too
as
easy.
well. It is too easy.
Too
You know what
easy.
It reminds me of Leonardo DiCaprio as Jordan Belfort. I ask you not to judge me on my winners, but rather on my losers because there are so few.
That's right. Very few.
Yeah,
In fact, on
that's it.
Thursday nights, only one
Only one in the history.
out of.
Just crushing it year
Yeah,
after year
year
after
after
year. All right, we're off and running. Cleveland Browns Daily brought to you by Ballybet, sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns, now live in Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Tito's Handmade Vodka on game day. Pour me in, Coach. Find cocktail recipes for every fan at titosvodka.com. 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly. We had Thursday Night Football last night. You had the Jaguars and the Saints in New Orleans. Trevor Lawrence had never won there. The only other two previous times he'd played there had been in college, and he had lost both of them.
Okay.
And so he was he even talked about this postgame. Like, he was pretty fired up to, like, get a win there. He was sick of leaving New Orleans with a loss. So he played. He gutted it out. This game, I thought, had a chance for Jacksonville to run away, and then New Orleans, it was like, come on, like, put this away.
They
What are you
turned it
doing?
over like 8 times in their own territory. They did everything they could to lose the game, and New Orleans is so bad. Derek Carr is awful.
What happened?
I don't know. He looks
He's
terrible.
screaming at
Olave.
and I'm like,
He was
Yeah, I
screaming
guess-
at him, but that ball landed 10 yards out of bounds.
Yeah, I
So,
guess-
like, what route was he supposed to
it
run?
was
Out of
Olave's
bounds?
fault that he wasn't running out of bounds? What are we doing?
I don't know. He can't get the ball to Olave. Olave, you know him better than I. This was the first real Saints game I've watched in a while.
Yeah.
And maybe he's just frustrated, but he seems a little petulant. Like, it
He's
felt like
usually not.
it felt like he dropped 3 balls that he could have caught that he was just kind of like,
It feels to me like there's not. I would tell you this. He was not that coming out of Ohio State. I don't know if maybe.
did you
Michael-
sense that watching it last night too, that he was
I wasn't. I had a lot going on, so I wasn't
you
able to
did,
watch it as
yeah.
close as I would have liked to have. It was something. It was on in all of the rooms as I was doing various activities, and so I was paying attention, but not watching that closely. I wouldn't be surprised if Michael Thomas has had a negative impact on him in terms of his approach.
Me neither.
Because that's happened to Mike down there. Like, he wasn't necessarily that way when he was in Columbus, but that wouldn't surprise me if, like, he sees stuff and that's reflected in maybe the way that he's kind of carrying himself, being petulant. But yeah, they are going nowhere with Carr anytime soon, and I don't understand, because he was, I always had him as kind of like the AFC Cousins, and then
It was really Dalton
fine, a little more prolific than Dalton though, wasn't
for
he?
a time.
Yeah.
So,
And
I
but
don't
there was
think he
a
trusts
hard
his
cap
line.
on it. No,
he's
clearly.
quick to throw. I mean, Kamara had, I don't know, 15 catches. This is Kamara's second game with more than a dozen catches. I think he had at least 12 in the game. Like, you can't, what is that? By the way, Enough from the Clown says a Wednesday night tape T-shirt would be a gold mine. Wouldn't be able to print enough of them. Someone is allergic to wins, and I half suspect it's Gibby. Yeah, spot on. Spot on. We've had some good tweeting.
How am I allergic to wins? What does that even mean?
Wins for the show.
The wins for the show.
Show wins.
If it was a BPA T-shirt, you probably would have already had them run.
The Ibs boys
The
T-shirt
Ibs
would have
boys.
sold, man.
Yeah.
They would have sold at least 2 or 3 of them.
Don't count either one of the Ibs boys' purchases.
So I said 2 or 3.
Yeah, so maybe
Would
one
have sold
more.
a couple.
Yeah.
I hate you both right now.
We love you. Was you saying that on Gibbe Cam? I think it almost should be like a voice-activated cam. So we need on-off lights
that would
for
be
us,
amazing.
on-off cough,
Like every time he talks.
and then Gibbe's cam needs to be voice-activated. So as soon as he starts talking, he's there. But I also want it to be not voice-activated. Well, as long as they can hear his voice in that room, because so many times he doesn't turn his mic on.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
But the voice would still get to the camera. The camera's in that room with him. So
Yeah.
a voice-activated cam. Griff, can we do that?
What's
Griff.
Not
There's a lot of enthusiasm.
a
Just-
lot. Yeah. We'll just say mushroom.
Mushroom.
Hey, I don't blame Griff on that one. I don't like mushrooms on anything, really, except beef stroganoff and like a good mushroom soup.
If you like mushroom soup, you like mushrooms.
I don't like mushrooms on
That
pizza.
is.
I don't like mushrooms
the
on
essence
pizza.
of a mushroom.
Stop it. I don't like mushrooms on anything except the 2 things that are most synonymous with mushrooms.
Hey,
That's right.
The soup
But like you
and
gotta have them
stroganoff.
cooked in. But like I don't put
There
mushrooms on a salad. I don't put mushrooms on a pizza.
I don't like mushrooms except
I don't
soup
need a
that's flavored
salad on a
mushrooms.
pizza. Like I
There's
don't need
nothing more
peppers
mushroom
and
than
black
a cream of
olives and
mushroom
all this other
soup or a
garbage
yeah.
on a pizza.
Mushrooms are great on a pizza.
They're
No,
fantastic.
wrong.
Yes. No, you're
So
wrong.
good. Pepperoni mushroom.
Pepperoni
Banana
mushroom, number
peppers,
1.
some good sausage, maybe
Oh,
a
my
pepperoni.
God.
Fine, I'm fine with everything you're
Oh,
saying.
that's fine. I'm just saying
But
that. Yeah, I agree.
if you go to a pizza place and you
Oh,
want to
man.
find out what this pizza place is all about, you order the pepperoni and mushroom.
That's right. That's my one beef with the one bite.
Yes,
with
it's
Portnoy's.
cheese.
I wish it wasn't cheese. I mean, honestly, I think
We're
even if-
adults.
Yeah, like I couldn't agree more. I think that's the way that's got to go a little bit there.
Because I think it's part of understanding. He's trying to boil it down to their pure essence of their pie, right?
Sure.
Which is that you can then top a cheese pizza and
Yeah.
have all those other things. But I think understanding the quality of one's pepperoni and the quality of their mushroom. In fact, not only the quality of their mushroom, the freshness of their mushroom is critical. When you start going in and you get thrown a canned mushroom on a pep and mushroom,
no.
I'm out.
Come on, what are we doing?
Forget it.
Stop
this
it.
isn't real.
Stop it.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
We live in a society.
I think Jacksonville's ceiling's pretty high.
Yeah, they're really good, and I felt like they sleepwalked through this. They sleepwalked through this game.
Well, they got up.
Sleepwalked.
They were up what 20? Was it 27-6? 20. Yes, 20. No, 24-6. It's 24-6.
Yeah, and they were up 31-6 last week on the.
Yeah. So they were up 24-6, and then and they just at that point, then they just kind of stopped.
Yes,
they
did.
could have buried, and they didn't. So that I don't know. Maybe it was they felt comfortable with that, and in a way that they went comfortable.
How about the fact that Trevor Lawrence and his knee were the leading rusher on the team, 59 yards.
I see that.
Alvin Kamara 12 catches for 91 yards. Olave 15 targets, 7 catches. He dropped like 3 of them.
Did he?
Yeah.
He was kind of like I think probably he's kind of like a Tyler Lockett.
Okay.
Guy at his best. Like I never
Olave?
Yeah. I think that's he's like a very good 2.
Oh, so you don't think he's a 1?
No, I didn't think he was like Wilson coming out. Like
Oh.
1 lock, stock,
Is he
go.
as good as if you were going to rank for me
coming out of Ohio State?
Yeah, Marvin Harrison, Garrett Wilson, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Chris Olave.
Harrison, Wilson, Olave, Smith and Jigba.
Tell you what, I would have thought you thought Jackson Smith and Jigba was a world beater.
No, I think he's a very good 2.
Got it. Okay.
Is I don't understand why it's been slow. I don't understand.
Well, we'll see if DK Metcalf doesn't play this week. Maybe he gets an opportunity to really
maybe. Yeah,
to go
it does. They have not been able to get him going at all. I think he's just a tick below Olave, but I mean they're all dudes. But the first 2 are like dudes.
Yeah.
Like Harrison is a dude.
Yeah.
That type of stuff. So,
Dude.
Yeah, there you go. That's a Al on the call with Kirk. Hate to see it.
I got to tell you something. I think they need to. The experiment needs to end.
It doesn't work. I don't think
doesn't
for either
work.
one of them. I don't think it works for Herbie, and I don't think it works for Al. And I mean, Al's 80. He's 80, man.
There's no joy.
No, he's calling the. He took the money.
Yeah, but this game right here, it got competitive at the end, but he
doesn't
no
view
joy
it from that way. He views it as I'm used to calling the Cowboys and the Niners. I'm used to calling the Eagles and the Dolphins. And he's in New Orleans on a Thursday doing Jacksonville, New Orleans. He's 80. Like the check's cash, I get it. It's the Draper line. That's what the money's for. But this is the human nature of it. He can't get over it.
No, and I think Herbie's maybe just spread too thin. And I don't think it feels to me watching the broadcast that Al does not respect Herbie's takes.
Yeah, that I can't speak to that, but I can speak to being just pulled too thin. I mean, he flies.
Did you see the little?
Yeah, he does it every week.
Yeah, I mean, he put up the map. He's in 4 different time zones.
Well, it was even worse last week because he went to Oregon.
Not time zone, cities.
Last week, Thursday Night Football was Kansas City.
Yep.
Then he flew to Eugene for College Game Day, and then he flew. Didn't he fly back east? He lives in Cincinnati
because they didn't
now.
have. Yeah, I don't remember what
this
game
week
they had.
he flew to New Orleans. Then he gets to Columbus at 4 a.m. last night to prep for College Game Day, Ohio State and Penn State. Then he'll do College Game Day. Then after the game, he flies to Tallahassee to do Florida State Duke, and then he flies back home. So there's no way you can properly prepare for all that stuff.
I mean, I just know how much time I prepare
no
for
way.
every one of our games, and I know our team as well as anybody on the planet.
Yeah.
So and that's true every week. I have one team in the game that I know as well as anybody.
Correct.
He has to learn 2 new teams every week.
He's got to learn a new league every week. Like
Yeah.
the rest of his life is college football,
Yeah.
and then on a college football prep, you got to know 60 kids
or
because
more.
there's 80 that could play.
Yeah.
So no, there's just no way.
No way.
He's great at everything.
He is
but
great.
There's just no way that you can properly do it, and
It just feels like
and you can feel it. And Al is he's my guy. I adore.
Love Al.
But it's enough.
You think about Herbie, and he's with Fowler, right?
Yeah. Well, he used to be with Musburger.
And then now Fowler.
Now Fowler. Yeah.
The chemistry that he has with both of those guys is leaps and bounds beyond. Like they have developed, it feels like no chemistry whatsoever.
Well, and I also think in college football, in the booth in college football, so much of it is emotional because college football is a much more emotional sport. Like there are these huge swings that happen. There's the crowd, the pageantry. Like the NFL, it doesn't have that week in and week out. Some places do. We're lucky enough to have it here.
Yeah.
Green Bay has it. Pittsburgh has it. There's some places that have that pageantry and the magic. But there's a lot of places that are
it's a business.
Pro football. It's a business.
Yep.
And so it's a totally different type of analysis as well. I just think you're 78. You're at Bel Air Country Club. Like, can you imagine like going, oh, yeah, honey, I'm flying to New Orleans this week to do what? You got all the money in the world? Like
The Big Easy's a fine town.
I love New Orleans. You know,
I know
feel
you
about
do.
New Orleans. I love it.
You have a
But
great
it's an
affection
example
for it.
of like, I'm not 78 at Bel Air Country Club living in Brentwood. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
got a pretty good life. Why is he? I know it's for the money, but I think it sounds that way too a little bit. Because he's had a lot of bad. They've had a lot of bad games.
Yeah.
And last night's wasn't, and he missed the call at the end. He thought he stepped out of bounds, and he didn't on the Christian Kirk touchdown. So, yeah, he's my guy. He's my guy. I love him.
Love him.
All right, coming up next, Jason Tarver stands up with Z. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet, sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns, now live in Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. And Bo here for my team at Renew Home Exteriors, now introducing new Ascend composite clad siding featuring a beautiful deep grain look. 20 available colors. Keep that just installed look for a lifetime with its low-maintenance siding. Plus, with Renew's price match guarantee, you're going to be assured that you're going to receive the best price for your exterior project even after you buy. Renew Home Exteriors, superior products and superior service. Visit RenewEstimate.com for more. And now here's Z standing up with linebacker coach Jason Tarver.
Time now for a great friend of the program, Browns linebacker.
You guys are done.
Jason Tarver. And, Coach, this D is cooking. I know how much you love ball. How much fun are you having with these guys?
It's good. We're focusing on playing as fast as we can, one play at a time, and seeing how fast we can race to the football. And that's what we're putting on display right now. And we got room to even get better.
Nobody's embodying that more than Jeremiah Wusu-Koramoah. 8 tackles for a loss already this season. That leads our team. Got a sack last week. What have you seen from him now in his 3rd year that's really allowing him, and maybe it has to do a lot with the guys up front, but allowing him to be an elite playmaker?
Well, the biggest thing with Jeremiah is when he sees it, he'll go get it, and he's very physical and very explosive, and that's starting to show. What we've emphasized and what he's continuing to do a better job of is staying in the moment and going one play at a time. What I mean by that is his notes getting aligned correctly, and when he's aligned correctly, he can see where to go fast, and he'll get there fast. And that's been our emphasis. It hasn't been perfect, but it's improving every week. We need him to stay in that mindset of my next play is my best play and keep doing this because it's starting to look pretty good.
Starting to look very good, and it's also been very good to see a couple familiar faces back. Anthony Walker Jr., Sione Takitaki. What has been getting those two guys back kind of meant to this room and to the product we're seeing on the field?
When we talk about setting the tone and the pace for the defense and being the nerve center, both of those two take pride in their communication and getting calls done quickly. And they've done a nice job of working together when they're in there together or apart and with our DBs to get everything set and moved. Some of the rules even that we used last week against the 49ers, they're not that easy. And both of those two performed at a high level, specifically Sione took over in that second half. That was great to see. But their work ethic and how they are can't be any greater. I mean, they're great humans, they're great people, and they care about the team, in most cases more than themselves. That's impressive.
Yeah, we're hoping that Awak will be able to go in his return to Indianapolis against the Colts. If not, Sione Takitaki, the fact that he got a lot of work at Mike last year, how helpful is that for what he's been able to do this year and in the event that he needs to do that with Awak out?
Oh, yeah. What's been great this year is all the guys have taken. When we put in this scheme, when Coach Schwartz got here, as we talked about, we're just linebackers. We're all playing every position. And not everybody's there yet to where they can make all the calls, but we're all working at becoming that guy. So Anthony, Sione, Matt Adams, Jordan, Mahmoud, all these guys have taken turns at Mike throughout the preseason and the season, and they're continuing to get turns, and we're continuing to get better. We want to be able to play the same style, the same relentless attacking defense, regardless of who's on the field. Both. That's one of the things we want to do in the linebacker room, but also as a defense.
Now, you go back to BYU, put on some of Sione's tape there. He was around the line of scrimmage, would blitz at times, could get to the quarterback. He's got 2 sacks already this season. That's a career high for him, matching the total he had in 4 years combined. So what is it about this defense that's kind of allowing him to be in some of those blitz looks and get to the quarterback?
Well, one thing is when we blitz, we want to bring it, and that's from Coach Schwartz on down to us. And the more we bring it, the more chances we're going to get. So everybody gets a turn in this defense to blitz, and when it's our turn, we need to go. And we're getting better at that. Jeremiah had one last week. He needs to not jump, but he's such a great athlete. He got the quarterback on the ground. Okay, Sione, when he rolled off against the rolled off right in the B gap, racked up that quarterback really well, rolled, did the surfing celebration, which made me happy, being a surfer. They were teasing him. That's a tribute, but it's not. But that was an awesome celebration. So the more turns, the faster we go, the more Coach Schwartz is going to call our number, and that's how we want to be.
So Sione does a surfing celebration, a tribute to you. Beautiful.
But it was cool.
It was cool. Listen, that's a smart thing to do, eh? I gave a little homage to the coach. I like that.
Well, the guys will call that being, TP, which means teacher's pet. But they all want to be a TP when it's all said and done. Because if you're repeating and saying the same things as the coach, it usually means you're playing pretty good and you're doing some good stuff. So we want to be in that world of knowing everything together. Because we're only as, coaches, we want the players to know what we know and to be able to execute it fast. Like, it doesn't do us any good if we know something and they don't. So
you're exactly right about that. You mentioned together, though. You and AWOC 3 years, you and Sione 3 years, JOK 3 years. The fact that you've had these guys, Jordan Kanasha going on his second season now, Tony Fields for 3 years. How helpful has that been to the continuity and kind of seeing these guys now getting the opportunity to really kind of thrive, knowing that it's been a journey you've all been on together for quite some time?
Well, this is how things take off in the NFL. Number one, you're fortunate to be able to work with the same men year in and year out, and that's how you grow your relationship, but also your defense. There's always going to be change in the NFL, but when you can have common ground, I mean, we had some change in scheme, but that doesn't change our relationship. And all of those relationships, player to player, player to coach, in our linebacker room have gotten stronger and stronger, and that's exciting because that gives you a chance to not only have success, but to sustain it, which is what we want in this business, going 1-0 every week and improving every week.
How does this team kind of go on the road here and stack a win? That's something we've struggled with a little bit, is putting a win right after a win. How important is that to kind of get this momentum going and for this defense to keep doing what it's been doing, which is historic through 5 games?
There's an old phrase in the NFL. There's certain things that travel when you go on the road. Okay, one of them is defense. Okay, another thing can be special teams and your ball security. You pack them in your bags. Okay, a great old coach, George Stewart, used to run around the locker room on Fridays and say, pack your bags, pack your ball security, pack your defense, run around the locker room and roll it. We gotta take that mentality. We gotta pack what we do because we love being at home right now and playing in front of our crowd. And hopefully we get a lot of people there this weekend. Yeah. But we got to have that mindset no matter what. We got to bring our own noise, like Mike Adams does when he brings out his boombox, okay, to practice. We got to bring that with us wherever we go. That travels, but we got to make that travel. That's our challenge this week.
I like that. Where's the team? Let's give that speech right to the guys right now. I like it. Maybe later on.
Part of that's being saved for right before we pack up. So, yeah, but that's coming. Okay. That's coming.
I love that. This defense, I know you spent a lot of time earlier in your career, certainly Bay Area, San Francisco. What this defense was able to do against a very physical offense, one that has been incredibly successful last week. To me, the stat that blows my mind is they had 12 offensive possessions. 5 of those possessions netted 1 yard or more. 4 of them were negative. 3 of them were exactly 0. 7 of their 12 possessions did not gain a yard against this defense. When you think about kind of some of the things you've seen, how impressive was that? And did you get any feedback after the game from some of your old cohorts on the San Francisco side saying, goodness gracious?
Yeah, it was exciting to see a lot of people, having spent 13 years in that organization. I love many people there. It's great what they've been able to do by establishing consistency. And just like you were talking about, relationships and keeping it has made that place really powerful. And that's cool to see, especially because they're in the NFC. But, here's the takeaway. The takeaway is this. That counts as 1. And you really have to believe that. Now, it's a pretty powerful one, like you said, reading the stats off. I knew it's 7-3 now, so I didn't know all those numbers. That's pretty good. But really, where we want to go, it's got to travel. I just said it. It's got to travel. It's got to be every week. We shouldn't need a pregame fight to get ourselves ready to play. We shouldn't need anything like that. All we need is ourselves and our mindset. And so that's what those numbers tell me is let's go get this one.
Let's go get this one. This is a Colts team that can run the football. Zach Moss right now 2nd in the league. And, they also have Jonathan Taylor, who's been working his way back, who back in 2021 led the league in rushing over 1,800 yards, was a first-team All-Pro. This is going to be, again, another physical one in terms of because you got to stop the run and put the ball in the hands of their quarterback where we can unleash that pressure. How important is that in this game, and the linebackers, of course, doing that at the second level?
Yeah, I think that's the whole key to the game. If you look at last week, our biggest improvement area is the first drive, and that team came out and went run, screen. Okay, so it may be very similar with a big physical line and 2 backs that can play. So quick throws, runs, screens, we got to run to the ball and we got to tackle and we got to get people on the ground with as many of us as we can get to the ball. And that's going to be the start of the game, but that can't stop at the start of the game. That's got to be all the time to get this one. They're going to be smart with how they do that, because they're good at doing that anyway. So we've got to have our mindset that's how it could very well be. Run, screen, run. Well, you know what? Let's go. We got to run to the ball. We got to get that ball on the ground, regardless of who has it.
One of the things they talked about coming out of that Niners game, right? 87% man or something astronomical like that. And everybody focuses on the corners and the safeties, and justifiably so. But the linebackers are also in man. And you got to deal with Christian McCaffrey for the majority of that game. Kittle, first-team All-Pro, held the one catch for 1 yard. What did you see from your guys in coverage? Because we know so far they've played the run very well. We've seen them knifing him. We've seen them getting the quarterback. But the coverage part of it's not talked about a lot, and that's probably a good thing, right? It's kind of like when an offensive lineman is not messing up, you don't hear his name. If a linebacker's not getting talked about in coverage, they're probably covering pretty darn well.
Well, I think
2 minutes.
main improvement areas as linebackers is, and it has happened through the first 5 games, is some of the critical situations being in coverage. There's a couple of times where we didn't win, but what was good is that we learned from that. So we got to make sure, because this team actually is one of the teams that really throws the linebacker, especially on money downs, on 3rd and 4th downs, really throws the running backs and tight ends. So we got to make sure we take them out and use our rules and cover people. One of the things that went in that game, like you said, is it was unnoticed. There's the play where Jeremiah caused the penalty, caused intentional grounding. Sione covered in number 85 and did it really well. So we all had turns in that game. Anthony Walker had a bunch of coverages on both backs. And so as you go back through that game, we knew that game was going to be, it didn't matter. We were just going to have safeties and linebackers matched up on all their skill guys, and it didn't matter. And it all happened. And we all took our turns. And what was cool is that's how rush and coverage works together. Sometimes it may not have been perfect coverage, but somebody hit the quarterback. Sometimes it was perfect coverage, and it get
1 minute.
the quarterback. We got to keep that stuff up. That's how defense works. It's not the quarterback picks who sacks him. Everybody writes down sack numbers. Of course, Miles wins a lot, but the quarterback picks that because he moves or he doesn't move or whatever. The quarterback picks who sacks him. It's not the individual stat. It is the entire defense causing havoc and making that happen. And as long as we remember that as a defense and continue to do that, continue to be unselfish,
30.
what we want to go, which is pack this thing on the road and go 1-0. But we got to be like that. It's not about our numbers. I know Sione's got 2. Wonderful. I hope he gets 12. All right. But it's not. As long as the team gets the offense off the field for, like you said, 7 out of 12, 0 yards. That's what matters.
No doubt, and that led to win. Coach, I'm fired up. You're fired up already. Appreciate
10.
Pack it up. Let's go to Indianapolis. Let's get a big win.
And great talking to you as always.
All right. That's a great friend of the program, the one and only Coach Jason Tarver, linebacker coach for your Cleveland Browns.
Yep.
Guy's the best.
I love him.
Love that guy.
I couldn't love him anymore.
He's the best.
We did the whole interview standing up. He's like,
Yeah.
let's stand for this interview. Then he's giving a pregame speech basically in the middle of the interview. I was getting fired up. I love that guy. I
great.
think it's awesome. He loves football so much. He has coached these guys in that linebacker room so well. He is so detailed in his preparation. Emotionally, he gets behind him. He's an awesome, awesome guy.
Yeah.
I am thrilled. I love that he's in our organization.
He's the best. All right, we'll hit a little over-unders coming up next. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet, sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns, now live in Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Browns friends, Express Beer, presented by Bud Light, brings the same facial authentication technology used at Express access to beer purchases in the stadium. Dedicated Express Beer stands. Simply put, the fastest way to get a beer in Cleveland Browns Stadium if you are 21 and over. Go to the ticket tab in the Browns mobile app to learn more. Time for a little over or under. Last week, you boys, you did well for yourselves, fellas. 4-1.
Strong.
4-1 across the board. Gibbe is now 13-7, and you are 12-8.
Maintains his 1-point lead.
He's got
Gibbe.
his 1-point lead.
Did I get sacks, interceptions, and fumbles again?
You did.
Yeah, we're nailing
You did.
that.
You
Wow.
nailed it.
Yeah, we're nailing
Pedro, for the record, went 3-2 last week.
Ha!
3-2.
Hate to see it.
Hate to see it. Hate to see it. All right.
I don't hate to see it.
We are going to work under the impression
Deshaun's
that
ball.
Deshaun Watson is playing.
Yep. I like it.
Over or under? Let's start with who went first last time? Gibby, did you go first? I think you went first. Start
Yeah.
with Segura. Over under total yardage accounted for Deshaun Watson 269.5. Dr. Z.
Over, under.
Over. Never thrown for fewer than 300 yards at Lucas Oil. This is the number 26 defense in the league that got rookie corners. Absolutely over.
Over. Give it.
This is throwing and running.
Throwing and running. You're getting both. You get both categories. How many times has he gone over that this year? He did it against Tennessee for sure.
Definitely Tennessee, maybe Pittsburgh as well.
I'm going to say under.
All right. Under.
Gibbe, gross. Have a little belief, would you?
Well, no. I mean, like, we have other things. We have other toys.
Yeah. And if it's a boat racing, then he might not need to, Gibbe.
Correct.
Fine.
Get him out of there when he's
I'll
ahead.
take that.
Next.
Over, under.
We're looking for total yardage accounted for. And this one's for you, Gibbe. Jerome Ford, Kareem Hunt, over or under, along with Elijah Moore, Moss and Taylor. So you're going to get 3 for 2. You get Moore, Hunt, and Ford versus Taylor and Moss. Over or under. Give it. 3 for 2.
Right now they're at for 353. So they're averaging about 176.5 the last 2 weeks. Those two combined.
Those two cats. Yep. But you're getting 3.
Oof.
Yep.
Kareem Hunt is officially listed as questionable in the event that he is unable to go.
You would get the
Pierre
next
Strong.
Pierre Strong. You would get him instead.
I'm going to go under.
Under. Give it.
If Zach Moss and Taylor are combining for big yards now, especially if they're running, that would be problematic for us. I'm going to go over. We have the number 1 total defense in the league.
All right. Very good. I think we could have a separation week. Next.
Over,
Gibbe's wanting us to
under.
lose is what it sounds like to me.
No, I just don't. I don't know if I see this being a shootout here. If you're working your quarterback back into game shape.
Amari Cooper.
You get both of our running backs against their running backs, Gibbe
And you get Elijah.
and Elijah.
All right. Targets. Total targets. Amari Cooper. Zagura. 8.5 targets. Don't you research.
What
Don't
was
you
it?
look at your
what
research.
was it again?
Targets. Amari Cooper. 8.5.
He's just under that. He's just under. I think he's at 37 targets for the season.
39.
39 targets for the season. So he's just under 8. So it's a good number. He was right at 8 last week. 4 catches, 8 yards.
He's at 2 over 8, 1 at 8, and 2 under.
So 60% of the time, this would be under.
60% of the time, it works every time.
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
right.
I'm gonna go under. I think it's gonna be. We're gonna spread the ball around to a lot of people.
Get up.
Wait, this is separation week. I'm going over.
Oh, baby.
Amari Cooper gets
All right.
more than 8 targets, and the quarterback's not throwing for 260. Come on, Gibbe.
Next.
Over, under.
Sacks, interceptions, and fumbles. These guys are brutal at this. Minshew's going to throw you the ball. This is a big number. The question is, how big did your Uncle Bo go? Oh, Rock.
Rock, the great Rock.
Great Rock. Don't see her. Used to see her all the time.
Not as much. She's a.
We left for COVID, and then that was it.
Well, she's moved up. She's
She's
got
in different roles. Yeah. 4.5, Gibby.
Over. I'm not even guessing. This is Feast Sunday. It's an
4.5.
early Thanksgiving for the
I
defense.
just want you to you want us to feast, but you're saying the running backs are going to go bonkers.
Don't question his thinking.
Over.
I don't do any research. I just go with it. So far, it seems to be working.
It's not
all
even
right for
about
me.
research. It's more just about like
Game flow.
It's more about like complementary storylines.
And yet,
He's
a
one
game ahead.
Well, he's never won. He's never won.
He's not won. He's
for
not
the
won.
season.
The
so.
biggest, what was it? Was it last year where you led the whole way?
No. It
Or
was
2 years ago.
It
No, I think it was
2
last
years.
year, and I think you were. It wasn't the whole way, but he was way up for a while.
There was one where all he had to do.
2 years ago. I smoked him. 2 years I was like on fire. I
Annihilated.
was like
Yeah.
5-0.
There was
every
one
week.
where all he had to do was basically just do the same as you, and he would have won.
and he can do it.
And he couldn't do it.
No, I can't help myself.
You can't help it. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Finally, the
Wait,
action.
what did Z do? Did you go over?
He went over? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Finally, the actual 40.5. 40.5 to Dr. Z.
Over.
Under.
All right. Over and under on that one. 40.5 means they're going to have to score a lot.
They've scored 20 in every game.
Yeah, but we're the number one defense.
We are.
It's a big number. I'm surprised. I thought it would be more like 36 and a
I
half.
feel like we're gonna. They're a bad defense though, so I feel like we're gonna.
They are
score
clearly thinking that we're going to get to in the 30s.
28-14,
Yeah, that does it. Or we could be
31.
Yeah,
I mean, last week they get 37.
31-10 type of a situation.
31-10's fine.
38. Yeah.
Last week was what 37-20, 57 points in their
It's
game.
weird. They're 3-3, right?
Yeah.
They've had a very odd start to the season.
Yes.
All right, there you go. And those are your overs and your unders. All right. Elk and Elk, serious lawyers, serious injuries. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO for a free case review. Elk and Elk's proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. Coming up next, we will go behind enemy lines. Stephen Holder going to join us from Indy. We'll get your keys to victory. And, of course, another edition of The Scores. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet, sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns, now live in Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. For nearly a century, Rumpke family has operated one of the largest waste and recycling companies, providing top-level services to residential and commercial customers. That's Rumpke Waste and Recycling. Visit www.rumpke.com to learn more. And now let's head behind enemy lines of the Twisted Tea Hotline. ESPN NFL Nation Colts reporter Stephen Holder joining us on the Twisted Tea Hotline. Stephen, thank you so much for taking the time. Before we get into the specifics of this game, I'm just curious because Nathan and I have talked about this a lot on the show. From your vantage point, what were the Colts thinking with the Jonathan Taylor situation and the way that all played out?
Yeah, that was a very interesting. Felt like 6 years of my life that I had to cover that. So I really think it was an interesting decision by the team to back in the spring when Jonathan Taylor came to them looking for an extension. They said that they had made a determination that now was not the time to do any extensions of current players because they were coming off a tough season and they kind of wanted to reset things. I understand that to some extent. I think where they maybe, if there was a miscalculation, I think it was maybe in not saying, well, let's talk about it, as opposed to saying no outright. And I think that is kind of what drew the ire of Jonathan Taylor, who thought about it like in terms of, well, I played hurt for a really bad team last year. You fired the coach midseason, and so the thanks that I get is now you're saying you won't even entertain the contract extension. So I think it's a situation where no one was wrong. I mean, he's not entitled to the contract extension, not necessarily, and at the same time, he's certainly not wrong for asking for one a year after he leaves the NFL in rushing. So you had this situation where both sides had a very reasonable position, and neither was really wrong, and neither really relented. So I think it took the Colts to kind of take a step back and say, all right, how do we fix this? And ultimately, it needed to get fixed because at the time, Anthony Richardson was still healthy. They got off to a good start. I mean, they're still 3-3. So they looked at it like, well, we have an opportunity to maybe make an interesting season here, and Jonathan Taylor was going to be a part of that. So we'll see what happens down the road. But really it was just a matter of let's go out there and compete, and we need Jonathan Taylor to be a part of that. I think he just meant more to them than maybe other teams ultimately. And so maybe for some teams, and you guys have seen this with Nick Chubb, maybe for some teams the big running back contract doesn't make a lot of sense. I think the Colts, their identity has been one of a power running team and a run first team to some extent the last few years. For them, it did make sense, and I think that's the reason you saw the outcome that you saw.
Were you surprised at the fact that this contract came after Zach Moss, I thought, provided them with plenty of ammunition to say and to have leverage in what the contract number would ultimately be? Guy currently second in the league in rushing, and since Taylor's come back, Moss 254 total yards and 3 touchdowns. Were you surprised that with Zach Moss playing so well, Taylor still was able to get $14 million a year?
Well, I certainly didn't think that Zach Moss's performance would help.
Right.
That's obvious. and I don't know that it helps things necessarily, but I do think ultimately Zach Moss, although he has had some big plays, that's never really been his calling card, and I really still don't think it is. And I think for Jonathan Taylor, what sets him apart is he has explosiveness that I don't think very many, if any, running backs have in the NFL. He's, in terms of big plays, since he entered the league, I believe only 3 guys have more big plays than Jonathan Taylor, Nick Chubb being one of those. And so he's in rare air, when it comes to the kinds of plays that can win you games. We talk about wide receivers and the passing game being explosive and how that can win games in today's NFL. That is, of course, very true. But you can also produce big plays in the running game. And there's a handful of guys who have the ability to do that pretty consistently, and Jonathan Taylor is one of them. So I think that was a big part of it and what sets him apart, even though Zach Moss has gotten off to a great start and has played the best football of his career.
Is this the week that we see Jonathan Taylor be the bell cow again, or do you think that this is a committee going forward? How do you see this kind of all shaking out?
Well, I think it's a committee until we see differently. However, too, for Jonathan Taylor, the usage did go up pretty substantially. And last week was really not the game to even measure it by, because they got down 3 scores against Jacksonville, and then you know what kind of game it's going to be. Gardner Minshew throwing, I think, 55 times. That ain't the blueprint. Okay?
No.
So let me be clear. So that was not the game plan. It's not the game plan this week. I can pretty confidently say that. And so anyway, Zach Moss and Jonathan Taylor had the exact same number of touches last week, 13 apiece. That includes rushes and receptions. So I think them kind of moving in that direction, where the previous week it was not very close. You know, Jonathan Taylor versus Zach Moss. Moss had had a much higher number of touches the previous week than Taylor. The second week it evened out a lot more. It was exactly even. So I think we're moving in that direction. And as long as Taylor proves that he's worthy of it, then I think it'll continue to go that way. I'm curious to see if they get him or continue to get him involved in the passing game. His 2 biggest plays to date for Jonathan Taylor have been in the passing game so far.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting little nugget.
Stephen, before we get into the game this week, curious the Anthony Richardson situation, how that played out. Kid who was obviously banged up a lot at Florida, and the way that the injuries happened, the decision to shut him down, what all went into that? Were there any other choices, or is that just kind of where they were? And then obviously a huge bummer for Colts fans.
It is a bummer. This team has been in a no man's land at quarterback for years, and I've been here and documented all of it, and it's taken years off people's lives. Okay, let me tell you, it's been a long time. So, anyhow, I think what Anthony Richardson represented, and still does represent, is a relief, and the end to that period of time. I mean, Andrew Luck walked out the door in August 2019. You know what I mean? Like, that's a long time ago. In football terms, that's like a generation. So, it's taken a toll on people, fans, the team, everyone. And so Anthony Richardson was finally the hope and the solution to that. They still think he is. And let me tell you, they are all in on Anthony Richardson. That has not changed one bit. But to have it postponed and to see the realization of that to come to fruition, have that postponed, really has been hard on everybody involved, in particular Anthony Richardson, who has really taken this hard because he knows what he means to the franchise. So anyhow, I really think it was a situation where I don't think this was much of a choice per se. If Anthony Richardson were not a quarterback, maybe there's a different decision here, maybe. But ultimately, this is what they had to do. The goal was very much about making this decision based on his future and the future of the franchise, and not about making the decision based on any variables about 2023. That would have been absolutely short-sighted, and to some extent, it's kind of what happened when Andrew Luck had his shoulder issues, beginning back in 2015. Andrew Luck wanted to get back on the field as soon as possible. He partially tears his labrum. 3 weeks later, he's back on the field. And I just wonder, to this day, was that the right decision? And did that play into the future issues that he did have? So anyhow, and he eventually had to have the surgery anyway. So that's not going to happen here. They feel like they're going to be able to get this right from the jump.
And that means it is Gardner Minshew's team. Minshew just 3-11 in his last 14, coming off a career-high 3 picks. You mentioned 55 attempts. That's not the way they want to go. It feels like from watching him, he's trying to get the ball out quick. He's most comfortable kind of throwing those quick, short sticks in the middle of the field. And is that part because they got Blake Freeland starting and their tackles have been – that's tough. And guess what? The Browns with Myles Garrett and Zadarius Smith and Obo Okoronkwo coming to town. Do you expect to see more of that kind of quick game from Minshew?
I sure hope so, because otherwise I'm afraid for Gardner Minshew because I just saw the clip this morning of what Myles did to Trent Williams last week on that one particular play where he basically threw Trent Williams, which I didn't know was possible. And so, they got to do what they got to do. But that's Gardner Minshew's game anyway. He is not a guy who you want, sitting in the pocket and patting the ball. You want him to read it and get it out. And that has to be what he does more than ever in this game. There's no doubt about it. And really it's the only route to success for him, because that's what he is. If you ask him to 7-step drop, now you're asking him to do something that's not within his wheelhouse. And you're also obviously putting your tackles in a bad spot. So I don't anticipate that they do anything beyond 3-step drop and get it out, with some few exceptions, obviously, when there are those times when you have to kind of put the ball in play and get it down the field. But generally, I think this is going to be a quick game all day for the Colts. And also they're going to have to try to run it and establish something there, so they at least can give or at least keep the defense honest, so this is not a one-sided situation. They got to do that too. So we'll see what happens. But Gardner Minshew is a smart quarterback. Even if he is physically limited, he is smart, and he does understand defenses, and that's what's kept him in the league. So he's going to have to lean into what he does well in this game, and hopefully that gives him some opportunity to do something.
The roadmap for Indy on Sunday will be what, in your estimation? Both sides of the ball. What if it goes their way? If they're slight dogs. I think it's 3, something like that. If they're able to spring what would be a little bit of a Vegas upset out there, how do they do it?
Yeah, they've got to play. Obviously, their defense has to be key. They are very good against the run, and so they've got to get you in, long down and distance, and then give their secondary, which is a little bit, can be a little bit overmatched at times at corner. They're kind of young there. I like the safeties, but at corner they have some disadvantages. So what they've got to do is getting them in long third downs and let those guys get off the field. And then on offense, you got to play basically an ugly game and kind of play the game that they played in week 3 in Baltimore, which was basically a field goal game. They won it with 5 field goals, and 4 of them over 50 yards. But Matt Gay can boot it. So they feel good if they play that kind of game. They can ugly it up and win it with a kicking contest, basically. I think that's the game plan here. Maybe not the plan, but I think that's how I see it playing out if the Colts come out with a victory.
You mentioned that secondary. Can you kind of just walk us through how did we get to the point that they got 2 rookies starting, and if they are still starting, Juju Brents and Jalen Jones at corner?
Yeah, so first of all, you go back to the offseason, trade Stephon Gilmore to Dallas, a veteran who, wasn't really up for a rebuild and wanted out. So I get that. You also had a suspension. Isaiah Rodgers got caught up in the gambling issues that have been kind of going around in the league. He gets suspended for the year. He's at least a young veteran who had played some. So anyway, that leaves you in a tough spot. I mean, their nickel corner, Kenny Moore, is a really solid player, been to a Pro Bowl, but he's a very unique kind of player. He's not generally an outside corner, and really injuries also contributed. Dallas Flowers, at least, was a guy they were high on, a young veteran they were high on. An Achilles tear a couple of weeks ago. So it has been just really a lot of attrition for different reasons. And so that's where they are now. Now, Juju Brents, I think, has a ton of upside. But he's going to win some and lose some. And so it's been make a play, give up a play with Juju Brents right now. But he definitely is a guy who's going to come up and tackle and really hit the snot out of a running back. He's fearless in that regard. And he's definitely a guy who's aggressive on the football. So he can make a play if you give him the opportunity. But he also is a guy who's going to get some plays up right now. So that just is what it is right now. And I think the problem the Colts have is their edge rush is, I don't think, nearly consistent enough right now to really, when you pair that with the young cornerbacks, I think that's a tough combination right now for the Colts.
Stephen, great stuff, man. Thank you so much for your time. Greatly appreciate it.
Hey, you got it. Anytime.
All right, that's Stephen Holder on the Colts from ESPN's NFL Nation, brought to you by Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea, official sponsor of your Cleveland Browns. Keep it twisted, Cleveland. We'll get your keys to victory coming up next. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. OBM, the preferred provider of copiers and document services for the Cleveland Browns, who can now tackle any size office. Call 216-485-2000 or visit ohiobusinessmachines.com. Time for the keys to the victory between the Browns and the Colts in Indy on Sunday. And for that, we go to Dr. Z.
All right. The Browns are the better football team. I mean, it's pretty clear to me when you go through this, they are the better team. They need to act accordingly. So when they have the football, what does that mean? First and foremost, take care of the ball.
Yep.
We haven't even
One time.
We haven't even tied the turnover battle yet. Let's just tie it. Then we can worry about winning it. If we tie the turnover battle, I think we win this football game. We win the turnover battle, we win this game. Browns, when they don't turn it over under Stefanski, 13-2. They're 23-6 when they tie or win the turnover battle. Like, it's pretty simple here. That's what you need to do. You do want to get that ground game going, but I think you got Deshaun Watson back playing in a stadium in which he has been very, very comfortable throughout his career. Attacking rookie corners that we just heard from Stephen Holder are a problem. These are both big corners, 6'3", 6'2", not the fastest because they're playing Dan Quinn's cover 3, or Gus Bradley, his cover 3 defense. We know what they're going to play. They're going to be in zone more than anybody in the league. They're going to play cover 3 more than anybody in the league. You know what to expect. You have cover 3 beaters. You know their rules. I think we need to be able to exploit that. It's going to be on our line to give him time. But offensively, I think the key is hit some explosives, take care of the football first and foremost, and I think we'll be just fine. I like this game. I think Amari could have a nice game. I think we get Goodwin going in a dome, Elijah Moore, DPJ, Chief. I really like our ability to throw the football, especially if Deshaun starts at quarterback. And then when they've got the football, it's real simple. Stop the run on early downs. Don't give Minshew on early downs any of those 5-yard plays. Tackle when they throw screens. They're going to throw the ball behind the line of scrimmage a ton. And then pin your ears back and overwhelm this line. This line is not good. Their left guard is great. Their center is great. Left tackle, bad. Right guard, terrible. Right tackle, rookie, bad. We should overwhelm them.
Yeah.
And if that happens, Gardner Minshew will give you the football. You'll get to take it away, and then this has a chance to be a very good game. But this is one of those ones, tackle well, put them in obvious passing situations, and then we should really have a field day. I think it's just be who we are, and defensively for sure. And then offensively, we need to stop turning the football over, period.
It's just been maddening. The idea that you're 3-2, lose the turnover battle every week, lose a franchise running back, lose this all-pro right tackle, have played 3 different quarterbacks. Like, let's just have a 3-week set where things go well and we don't turn the ball over and everybody who is healthy plays. Like,
I'll tell you, if that happens,
that's it. You're sitting here winning 3 games. You'll be 6-2 and feeling very good about yourself. But yeah, that's
boy, would we
quite chesty.
So we got to win one. We got to stack it, and I think it's. I'm really curious to see this team. I don't want to see them come out flat. I don't want to see any kind of a letdown. I want to see that same intensity that we brought for the 49ers to be brought against this Colts team, and I know that Juan Thornhill is going to make sure these guys know that that's exactly what they have to do because we have a chance to go on a little bit of a run here, and that's certainly what I want to see.
There's a we say it all the time. We use it a lot of times in college football, that act accordingly business. And it's harder in the NFL because on any given Sunday, right?
Sure.
The margins aren't as big in the injury factor that happens on a week-in, week-out basis. But in an AFC that is pretty crowded at the top, maybe not as crowded as we thought it would be at the start of the year, but still very, very crowded. When you have opportunities like this and you are playing in climate-controlled and everything that you can control is going to be controlled, it is critical that you take care of your business. There's just no reason not to. This team, you were going through it. We had Steven on. They are battered across the board.
Yep.
They really don't have any sort of weapon of note down the field.
Nope.
You should be able to lock all of that down. And then, as luck would have it, the things that they are bad at offensively, we are fantastic at defensively. So you should be able to get home. And I would assume that our corners would be ultra aggressive in this game. There's no reason for them not to be.
Yeah, and Gardner Minshew will throw you the ball, especially if you hit him, you make him bat the ball there. And I think we should be able to do that. And so first down defense is going to be very important, getting them into those obvious passing situations. But yes, we are the better football team here. Their corners are in a bad way. They do not have the pass rush that we have. The Browns should be able to overwhelm this team, but it's going to come from playing clean and being able to do that. And if they can, I really do think this should be a fairly easy win. And remember, this is also a team that beat the Ravens. So
I know.
It's
huge.
That's huge because you win this, you're 4-2, same as the Ravens. You've beat their AFC opponent that beat them. And I think the Ravens, had that game been played in Indianapolis, win that game. They should have won that game. They kind of turned it over. The weather was kind of mucky.
The whole way, yeah.
Yeah, they should not have lost that game, and they did bad clock management. But that's good for the Browns, because now you have an opportunity to beat a team that beat them. Look at them. Look at the swacket. Look at that
Oh, the
swacket.
swacket's
Look
back.
at the swacket. Quilted.
Look at it.
Quilted.
Oh,
baby.
oh, gosh.
The peak.
That's a couple of the 3 layers on that, it looked
Yeah,
like to
yeah,
me,
yeah.
and then
The
a swacket
swacket.
over top.
The swacket. It's
Swacket.
a quilted.
This is his peak conditions,
Yeah, he likes this.
because
yeah.
then he can layer it up.
Yeah. Then he can look like he's here. Yellowstone doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. He can run a business, or he can go run a ranch. Doesn't
Yep,
matter.
that's
But
exactly
can do
right.
both things.
Yeah.
So the versatility's there. How is that place for an NFL environment?
So I like it. I remember being there a few years ago. I like domes, obviously.
Sure,
Especially
but
being on the sidelines. I haven't been up in the booth yet to see kind of what it's like from up there. I know that it's
Yeah.
very high up above the
It
field
is.
of play.
I've been in the
Is
press
it higher
box.
than Houston?
I think it might be.
What?
Well, it's-
Houston, you're in another.
Well, Houston, you're further back. Indy is like straight up.
So do you on the radio booth? Are you more middle of the field or because in the press box you're all the way you're in the corner?
Yeah, we're not in the corner. We're more toward the middle.
More
of the
toward
field.
the middle, but all the way up?
It could be like 30, 35.
Oh, okay.
Still,
yeah,
that's okay.
yeah. What do you make of it,
It's-
Gibbe?
I love that city. I love the way
great
it's set
town.
up. It's easy to get around. I got friends that are going to the game. They're like, so like, where is our hotel? And I go, everything's indoor.
walk.
Like I've told
Yeah,
them
you
3
just-
times. I go, everything is indoors. Like you never even have
Yeah.
to go outside if you don't want to.
It's probably that and Minneapolis are probably the best examples of what a northern city should be in their downtown.
Yes, exactly.
If you want a northern city to have a livable downtown 365, then you have to do what those two cities do, and they both crush it.
No doubt.
They
And
attract
you got
everything.
Yeah.
Like,
and it's great. The commute from the hotel to the stadium is a minute.
Right.
The commute from the stadium to the airport is not long either. It is like the opposite of Houston.
Yeah, it's very navigable, and
Boy, is it.
And downtown is awesome. It's so easy to walk.
Like,
around.
why can't we be at Indy for Christmas Eve? Why do we have to be in Houston?
there's a great food scene.
That's good.
Like it's.
He's going to his Italian place, I think.
Saturday night, you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you?
I may
you know,
stop.
you're-
I may
you're-
stop in and have a little appetizer, shrimp cocktail.
Who gets hurt? Nobody gets hurt.
No one.
Nobody.
Sorry for
Well,
that.
actually, you almost died.
I did.
So
That was
guess-
that was an
maybe
aggressive.
that's-
Almost.
Maybe that's a different. Maybe someone does get hurt actually in that situation.
I've only been there for Big Ten championship games, and for that, it's awesome. It's perfect.
You know, I mean, I think the last
Gibby
time we
Camp's
were
great.
there was the last time we were there preseason after joint practices with Frederico.
No, we were there. All 3 of us?
Was that? Oh no,
The combine.
no. But he means like us as a team.
As a
was the last
team?
time we were there.
I think.
Yeah,
in
and then we
preseason.
played a regular season game there back in 2000 and I want to say 17, and we lost to, I believe, Jacoby Brissett started for them in that game.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't remember what the game day experience is like. I just know the stadium's easy to get around. Logistically,
easy.
it's great. Inside, outside,
Sightlines are
everything
awesome.
is great. Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing I remember Manning lamenting the idea that they lost some of their noise when they went from the Hoosier Dome to this one. That this one was better, more spacious, but that the Hoosier Dome was louder, or I guess it was RCA or whatever it was. But the one thing I remember from the Manning era specifically was just it was like one of the first NFL stadiums I remember where everybody wore a jersey
Yeah.
because it has the northern, kind of the northern culture of jersey wearing.
Yeah.
But it was also indoors, so you could actually see the jerseys versus having to wear coats and slickers and all that type of stuff. So that was something that jumped out to me because it felt like everybody in that stadium wore a jersey.
I think that Cleveland South is going to be Indianapolis.
Yeah. I think it's going
I think there are a lot of fans going.
Yeah, I mean, the only negative thing about there is it's just brutal to get over there. If you could drive a straight line from here to there and put a freeway there, it'd probably be a 3-hour drive.
The problem is the great state of Indianapolis, and I say that sarcastically, has 2-lane highways.
Indiana,
Did I say
the
Indianapolis?
great state of Indianapolis.
You did.
There's
Yeah,
just no
all
easy
right.
way to get from
We're
here
on
to there.
fire today.
Like you got to go through Columbus is the fastest, but it's just that's a tough drive. I hate that drive.
Yeah.
It's brutal, man.
Well, and you might as well stay till Monday.
Oh my God, yeah, you're not getting out.
No,
You're not getting out.
not ideal.
No.
Great state of Indianapolis. Good job.
Good job, Gibby.
Great job.
Browns fans, visit your local Tide Cleaners this October for a chance to win tickets to an upcoming Browns home game. You'll be automatically entered to win with any purchase? Do you have one?
I was just going to say, the last time we were in Indianapolis for a game regular season was 2017. We lost 31-28 to Jacoby Brissett.
There you go.
So
you had that part right.
Uno had the forecast as 59 and partly sunny. I said, that's great. We're in a dome.
Yeah, but they're talking about having it the top open.
Well, they can only do the end.
I think it's only the side.
It's the end, the one end.
Yeah,
That's
not
it.
the
They
top.
can't take
That's
the
it.
top
It's not
off.
the top. It's just one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I think is fine to do that.
It's great.
That's what you could do.
Look right into the city.
Yeah, if you were ever to do, if we ever do a dome here, God willing, if you could do something where maybe the ends open, so you get,
Get the cross.
Just
that.
do Minnesota.
yeah, that's it.
There's
That's
nothing
the
wrong
same
with it.
thing. Yeah, no one needs to feel the outside elements.
No.
just be.
You
just
built this
be-
for a reason.
Yeah, just do it that way. Do Minnesota. That's the way you do it. We'll
In
do
Minnesota, if it's a sunny day, you still feel like you're in a sunny environment.
That's 100% true.
So
Yep.
it doesn't that's the only benefit is to
It's-
be in the sun.
Yeah, but
And
you
still
and
will
you
be.
are, and so there you go. That's it. Pet Supplies Plus, giving you a chance to win tickets to home games all season long while providing the best deals for your pet at over 75 plus stores in Ohio. Enter to win tickets at clevelandbrowns.com/Pet Supplies Plus. Receive a coupon to use at your local Pet Supplies Plus with your entry. Pet Supplies Plus, proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. The scores are next, kids. You listen to Cleveland Browns daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. All right, kids. It's time for a little segment we like to call
You're welcome.
We got to get that as a drop. That the DiCaprio line. That really is what we ask you to judge us not on our winners but on our losers because there are so few. That's the way that's
The accent is great.
It's great.
Well, last week, more winners than losers. Again, 9 and 5 for both of us. 30 games over 500 is where we sit. Both each, which is remarkable.
Yeah, so we're tied at between the two of us. We're both exactly 30 over.
Yeah.
And we both have had
A
on
14
different
and
weeks
2.
a 14 and 2.
Yeah,
That's wild.
that's right. Well, this week, none of that. There are only 13 games possible.
Yeah, light week.
Light weeks.
Bit of a light week.
And we're at 1, so we just need to go 6 and 6 to keep the winning streak alive, which I think we'll do.
Pretty confident.
Well, we should be. I mean, the track record's a
I
track
mean,
record.
I feel like in weeks where you really knock it out of the park on the guess the spread, that these fall into place pretty good. It's
Yeah, but they're
the
also
weeks that
very
we got
good.
like the double digits.
Yeah.
They're-
The thing that I'll tell you this before we get into this. There are a lot of variable quarterback situations here that we're going through
Yes.
that make this very tricky. I mean, we're going to see arm wrestling kid dad play. Like, I don't know what that even means. I don't know what Shepherd University is. I have no idea what that could look like.
I mean, his
I
dad
don't know
is the
who's
reason.
quarterbacking the Raiders.
We don't know.
No clue.
Why haven't they said?
I have no idea.
Josh
Is it Bailey
McDaniels.
Zappi in New England? Or are they sticking with Mac
No, they're
Jones
sticking
for another
with
week?
Mac.
You know? So it's a brutal, from that sense, it's a brutal slate. Is Dan Dimes playing?
He is officially questionable, but still not cleared for contact. I don't
So
know
how's
how you
that
could
possible?
be questionable.
Yeah, that's out. That's out.
Yeah, I think you're trending the other direction.
This
of
is,
questionable.
quite honestly, it's a pretty bad week for football. Now, we've got the Sunday Nighter,
Yep.
but you're watching our game early. The 4 o'clocks are actually decent, and then you got the Sunday Nighter.
I don't know why we just can't get this right every week and just have consistently.
I don't think there is. I don't think there are any good. I don't think there are that many good teams. There's been so many injuries, so many quarterback injuries, that the teams that we thought would be further ahead than they aren't. And we haven't had you would have assumed at this point that, for example, Justin Fields would have been elevating. Well, he's not even playing.
Correct.
And they've been largely bad. So the guys who you thought would take leaps haven't. Across the board, kind of. That would be the case.
All right, let's get down to it, and we start in the NFC South. Atlanta. Are they going to be gutless? Are they not going to be gutless? Visiting Tampa Bay. Both teams coming off losses. 3-2 versus 3-3 for bragging rights early on in the NFC South. Nate, lead us off.
Nate. Creepsicles.
Nate.
Pedro wore off on him.
Jeez.
By the way, how'd he do last week?
Oh, it's a good question.
Good question.
Let me
Let's see
tally
here.
it up. Let's
welcome.
tally it up.
He had
He
some
is
very specific
1,
thoughts.
2, 2-1, 2-2, 2-3, 3-3,
Doesn't sound like we're trending
4-3,
Huh?
4-4,
Oh.
4-5, 4-6,
Hate to see it.
5-6, 5-7, 5-8,
Oh, jeez.
5-8.
5-8 out of Pedro.
Yikes!
He just comes into this radio booth and just gets battered. Whether it's the scores or the trial of Pedro, it's just not friendly fire for him.
It
anymore.
is friendly fire. He's got to make the most of it.
Yeah, he's not. He's failing.
5-8.
in that
No.
regard.
All right.
Sad.
I don't believe in the Falcons at all. I think Tampa's good at taking down teams that aren't good. The Falcons have a great defense, but that's about it. Now, they went out last week, and guess what? They got beat pretty good by the commies.
Uh-huh.
I'm not a believer. I'm just not in the Falcons. Ritter,
Yeah, I think it's known.
Bucks 3, Falcons -7.
Yeah, I think the only thing that gives me pause from picking the Bucks is I had PTSD with that Baker press conference on Sunday.
I didn't see it, so maybe
Oh,
it's
God
keeping
almighty.
me.
It was, we all got to get better, and it starts with me. And I went, ugh. I've heard those.
How did he look, though? Did it?
It didn't shave 3
It
times.
wasn't Stan Marsh,
So
right?
That was no, it was not.
All right.
Yeah, I'm with you. I got Tampa Bay as well. Yeah, give me the Bucks. I'll go 7-2. 7-2 Bucks.
Up next, the biggest number in the National Football League for Week 7. It's the Buffalo Bills traveling to New England to battle the gutless Patriots. Patriots 1-5, Buffalo 4-2, Bishop.
Yeah, I don't feel like I can ever get the right read on Buffalo.
Doesn't matter. You know the read on New England.
I know I do, but I had the read on the Giants too with Tyrod Taylor, and they handled their business. So last week I went with Buffalo to cover. It didn't work. This week I'm going with Buffalo to cover, and it's going to work. Give me the Bills, huge 77-2. I think the Patriots are broken.
Same. I had already written that one in for you. I knew that there was no other way to go.
Next to our game on Sunday and the Sunday Nighter, this one's worth paying attention to.
That's a good one.
Detroit, 5-1 on the season, on the road, visiting the Ratbirds, 4-2 on the football season. Dan Campbell, Jahmyr Gibbs going to play. He's going to play a lot.
There you go.
Yeah, no David Montgomery in this one.
We're going to need him, he says. Well,
Good.
We'll see. Does he actually play? Nathaniel.
I like the Lions team. Jared Goff is playing like a top 5 quarterback in the league. They're getting Jamison Williams back. I like them very, very much. I like their defense. I think they're going to be able to put pressure on Lamar Jackson. They're the number 1 run defense in the NFL. This is a good matchup here. I don't like the spread. I actually thought this should be a pick'em. This was in my own world. So that being said, I still think the Leons go. I think they're a darling. I think they're hot. Even if the Ravens were to beat them 21-20, doesn't matter for my purposes, but I don't think they do. Lions 24, Ravens 17. Questions emerging.
Yeah.
Baltimore.
I'm samesies with you on this. I think Detroit is legitimately good. I think if you look at what Goff has been over the last 17 games, it's as good as anybody in the league. And I think they unlocked Jamison Williams. There's more where that came from with him.
Yeah.
And they hit him on a big one. There was another one he was running open. They'll hit him on more of those. That's going to open up everything. They're going to get Montgomery back. They're going to be even better. Plus, I mean, it's like a sister city. Detroit, take care of your business. Go do us a personal favor.
Yes,
Who gets hurt?
Thank you.
Up next, it's the inmate game of the week.
This is gross.
The Vegas Raiders. They're 3-3.
I don't know.
I don't know how, but they're 3-3. On the road, Soldier Field, 1-5. The Bears. I feel like their coach probably the leader on the hot seat to not make it through the football season. Eberflus.
Yeah.
Rough. Again, no Jimmy G, no Justin Fields, no idea who's playing quarterback for the Raiders. Bishop, Godspeed.
Gross game. Yeah, this is awful. I know where you're going with this because of your affinity of the father, and I don't blame you. The father's great. I just think Chicago's going to be a mess. How can I pick a kid who played at Shepherd? I mean, I know who the dad is. I know the lineage. I know that he came from his loins, but it just seems impossible. I'll take the Raiders in a gross game, 9-6.
I mean, Bajent, his dad is a legend. He's pure electricity. This kid's tatted up all over the place. I think he's a scrapper. I think he's a fighter.
If he plays well, do they even let Fields play again? Just let this kid live.
Here's the truth. This isn't a cage. This isn't an arm wrestling exhibition. This is the National Football League. And I don't care how talented he is, coming from where he did, that he's going to just jump right in here a year later and take on an NFL team with the Condor Max Crosby coming after him. I don't see it happening either. I love it. Bajent's dad alone is going to be worth 3 points, but that's it.
That's it.
6.5 to 3.
Okay.
Vegas.
Raiders.
To the
We're
NFC.
all the same so far. That is, I don't know if that's good or scary.
Yeah.
It's hard to say.
To the NFC East we go. The G-Men, as I mentioned, Daniel Jones, questionable, still not cleared for contact. Not sure how that goes. Saquon Barkley, please don't trade me.
That was interesting,
I
right?
Where did that
don't know
come
what
from?
that is.
Yeah, that's weird. It feels like he would benefit from being traded.
Yeah. Giants hosting the Commies. Giants 1-5. The Commies 3-3 on the football season. The Giants, by the way, have lost 4 in a row. Let's see. Nathan.
I don't know if I can continue. I'm reading a tweet that says, more talk about the Browns, less fashion news. Why do I want to know what other people are wearing on a radio show?
You don't get the show. Sorry.
It's sad.
No, don't get
It was a swacket. It was beautiful. We described it, quilted, gray.
Don't get the show. You can't
do
we
it.
can't worry about the people who don't. Can't do it.
All right. I think the Commanders are one of those hot and cold teams. But the Giants are starting offensive linemen off the street, and they do have a very good defensive front. So I think the Commies are going to go into the Meadowlands, and they are going to get it done by the beautiful score of 12-0.
Ugh.
Yeah, same. This is gross. It's just gross. 8-2. Commies. A lot of baseball scores this week.
That's fine. That's fine. We're in the baseball playoffs. Uno cares. Not sure anybody
You're the one.
else.
You're the one, Uno.
Where is Uno? By the way,
Uno stepped away for a little bit.
where is he? Is he coming back?
Prancing around.
I don't know the answer to that.
You want some more fashion? Uno is wearing like a dress jort today.
Is he really?
Yes.
I got to see this.
Yes. A
for
dress jort.
Good for him.
Why not?
Why not?
Where's he stepped away to, Gibby?
He just stepped
Meetings,
out. That's
luminaries?
all. To the
very
NFC
secretive.
West we go.
Okay.
The Arizona Cardinals, 1-5. Kyler's working out the kinks. He's got like a 21-day period to get ready. Buda Baker, same thing. They won't have either one of those guys, though, as they take on the 3-2 Seattle Seahawks in Seattle. Bishop.
There was a time when Arizona was like a plucky, fun team. Those are the times in our rearview mirror. Seattle gets right after playing pretty frustrating game against Cincinnati last week. I like the Seahawks big, 28-14.
This is the Jackson Smith and Jigba breakout game. The Hawks are going to be rolling. My dad, when he would play Stratomatic, we used to be the Seahawks, and he would we had a little LP. The Seahawk wave is on a roll,
There you go.
The
Yeah.
tide is coming in. The Hawks are going to win. Seattle, 1,792.
Oh, God.
Arizona, 1,789.
Oh, baby.
Woo!
That's a game. They're still playing that on Tuesday.
That's Madden, baby.
Wow.
I'm here for all of it. More fun on the West Coast. The Pukers back in action after their bye week, visiting the Los Angeles Rams at SoFi. No Freiermuth. Hammy looks like he could be on the shelf for a few weeks now. TJ Watt did not practice yesterday, had a little heel thing.
Yeah.
Says it's a minor injury, but it's a heel. You never know what's going to happen there.
know about being a
Pukers,
heel.
Rams, Mr. Zagura.
In the words of the counselor or the teacher, I guess it was, from South Park, the Steelers are bad, okay?
Yes, right.
Rams a billion, Steelers 0.
Same. Yeah, it's
The Rams are a solid team.
Well, and with Cup back, and they have Nakua and Cup, they've got weapons. Now, it'll hurt him with Williams out because he'd been a stud.
Been so good.
So they'll have to go committee at running back, but
Yeah.
I'm with you. Ram it.
Next up, this one's not much better than the Bears and Raiders. It is the Green Bay Packers at 2-3 on the season, visiting the 1-5 Bronco Country. Let's ride, Denver Broncos.
This is an awful game.
Another awful game. Bishop.
I don't. Packers 3, Broncos 2. No, Packers 4, Broncos 2. Sorry. Packers 4, Broncos 2. Gross.
I think
Gross
this
football.
game is gross.
Gross ball.
You got the Packers coming off a bye, the Denver off Thursday night. They were terrible. I think they're an
Bad
awful
ball.
team. I think both of these teams are gross. Denver's going to win at some point, right? Does Sean Payton have anything left? Does Russ Wilson have anything left? I don't know. Maybe they don't, but maybe they do.
Oh, boy.
Denver 4, Green Bay 3.
All right.
Pitchers duel.
To Kansas City we go. The debut/reunion. Cole Hardman back with the Kansas City Chiefs. Maybe that'll jumpstart this Chiefs
Yep.
offense, even though Kansas City is 5-1. They're hosting the 2-3 Los Angeles Chargers. Brandon Staley, tick, tick, tick,
Ya boy.
tick, 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 tick. Chargers, Chiefs, Nathaniel.
The Chargers aren't going to win because that's not what they do.
You and I see this exactly the same.
But they are very good at losing close games.
This feels like 34-31.
Boy, sure does. I don't even know that we're going to necessarily need the back door part of it. But if we do, Justin Herbert will be there.
He'll be
Hey,
there for you. at
Here
the
I
back
am.
door. Yeah.
But I think it's more likely, in fact, that perhaps they're even ahead with about 5 minutes to go and figure out a way to lose, and the Chiefs pull it out like 32-30.
Same. It's just that it just screams that type of game. This is the other thing to watch out for, folks, on Kansas City is they always get a Mahomes boost to the scores.
Yeah,
so
big boost.
They always get a big boost. It's usually like 2.5 or 3. They'll get it's like too much. It happens almost every week.
Is Swift coming to this game? Do we know?
I don't know. Not on the Swift train. I don't know. The movie's launched. They've done SNL.
Oh, I know.
No, the movie's been
gangbusters.
yeah,
for the people.
gangbusters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Crushing it.
It's interesting though. I saw something from a pundit on her song choices. Certain material,
Certain
yes.
material.
Certain material, no.
No, not as traditional as what you would think.
Yeah.
Or maybe that some would want.
We'll see.
Sunday night foosball. Arguably two of
This is
the
an
top
awesome game.
3 or
Can't
4 teams in the National Football League. Can I interest you in the 5-1 Philadelphia Eagles playing host to the 5-1 Miami Dolphins? Get a nap after the 1 o'clock games.
Yeah, take a
Take
Get
a
a
little
nap,
nap,
watch our
get
game,
a
chill,
cozy, and get ready for
We got to get on
it.
an airplane, but I think we'll be, because of the proximity, I feel like we should be home
Yes,
in
we
a
will be home in
reasonable
time.
time
Yeah.
for this game.
Don't jinx us. Don't forget, we got like
Is
a
it me or
bigger
you?
plane.
Who's going? Is it
Now
me?
we got to
I think it's you.
yeah, it's you.
Okay. Philly coming off a loss at home. That defense, I think you're in for a classic game. I like Philly winning by a field goal in this one, 34-31. Give me Philly.
I feel the same way. Like, who's not taking the red-hot Miami Dolphins
Everybody's
secondary
taking-
issues?
Why are they under? Yeah.
I don't get it.
Eagles in that Kelly Green, by the way. Too.
Yeah,
So
which
it's
is going to be
gorgeous.
gorgeous. I'm with you, Eagles. So we really only have Arizona, Seattle different, and Denver, Green Bay different, which
We're not going to manufacture disagreement. I won't stand for it.
well, no.
There's integrity on this program. We'll pick our game.
Great integrity.
Great integrity. Pick our game coming up next. Cleveland Runs Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.
Hi, it's Riz for Perfect Power Wash.
Sunday, Cleveland Browns Radio Network, 9 a.m. Browns Game Day, Ken and Gerard. 11 a.m. Browns Kickoff, Andy and Tyvis. And then 1 o'clock kickoff from Lucas Oil Stadium. Andrew Siciliano in for Jim, Z, and Gerard, all on Sunday across the Cleveland Browns Radio Network. Buckeyes and Nittany Lions, noon tomorrow at
How
the
you feeling
Horseshoe.
about that one?
Hate this.
Good. These two teams are kind of like a mirror. Franklin needs it far more than Day does. Franklin he's got to win one of these games. Penn State hasn't won at Ohio Stadium since 2011.
Wow.
And so, but all of the games are competitive in this series. The last decade, Ohio State's only lost one, but they've been very, very competitive. I think Ohio State wins a close game, 27-24, 24-21, something like that. But there's a ton of NFL talent. 6 first-round picks between the two teams, 3 on each side. And it is a likewise talent. Also, a Pennsylvanian quarterbacking Ohio State and an Ohioan quarterbacking Penn State.
Sure, a big recruiting day. Lots of recruits on campus for this tomorrow.
By the way, speaking of things that haven't happened in a long time, Pedro texted me. He must have heard. His ears must have been burning. And he said the last time that the Niners beat the Vikings in Minnesota, the quarterback was Steve Young, which I find hard to believe.
I mean, thank you, Pedro.
Jeez. Well, we'll pick that on Monday.
Yeah, we sure will.
Yeah, we're winning big. Come on.
Huge. Handle your business. 4-2. Come on.
Sort it
Then
out.
we can be
Act
a team
accordingly,
of consequence.
kids. Let's go.
Let's go.
Enjoy your football weekend, everybody. The next level's coming up next. Thanks for listening. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.